Think about the last time you felt genuinely unsafe. Maybe you got startled by a loud noise. Maybe a car cut you off on the highway. Your heart spiked, your hands tensed up, and then it was over in seconds. Now imagine that feeling, but the threat weighs 700 pounds, runs at 35 miles per hour, has 8-inch retractable claws, and is not going away. That was Tuesday for your ancestors. For most of human prehistory, every person alive shared the planet with predators so extreme that modern wildlife looks tame by comparison. Cave lions 1/3 larger than anything alive today. Short-faced bears standing over 11 feet tall when upright, faster than a horse, with a bite force strong enough to crush the skulls of giant bison. Saber-toothed cats with canines the length of your forearm, specifically engineered by millions of years of evolution to kill enormous prey. And humans in this world were not at the top. We were not even close to the top. We were the thing other things ate. So how did we survive? How did a species with no armor, no venom, no claws, no speed, no meaningful strength relative to our size manage not just to survive alongside these animals, but to eventually watch every single one of them go extinct while we built cities? The answer is a sequence of strategies so layered, archaeologists are still finding new pieces of it today. And the further you go into the evidence, the stranger it gets. Let's start with what didn't work. Fire, the assumption, was always the same. Ancient humans were terrified of predators, so they built fires, and the fire kept the animals away, and that was basically the whole story. It sounds right. Most documentaries still frame it exactly this way. The problem is, the archaeology doesn't support it. In 2016, researchers analyzing cave sites across Europe and Africa found something that demolished the campfire theory completely. Cave lions and cave hyenas were not repelled by fire. They moved through fire zones. In at least 14 excavated sites, large predator activity was found directly adjacent to sustained human fire use. The animals were not afraid. They simply didn't care. Fire was not a wall. Fire was a light source. Here is where it gets interesting. At Schöningen, Germany, researchers found 8 spears alongside the butchered remains of more than 50 horses. Perfectly engineered, aerodynamically balanced, 6 to 7.5 feet long, tips hardened by controlled fire. The oldest known throwing weapons ever found, not scattered horses. 50 horses processed together, that number matters. You don't accidentally butcher 50 horses. Someone planned positions, assigned roles, managed timing, and executed without anyone breaking early. This is not survival instinct. This is military strategy running in a brain with no written language and no training manual. But against a cave lion, a thrown spear is still a losing proposition. You need to get within range, and at that point, you are already in its attack zone. So the archaeological record also shows evidence of something more calculated. Ambush architecture. Ancient humans were building terrain features designed to compress the movement options of large predators. Narrow kill zones using rocks, trenches, and natural geography. Not traps in the modern sense, but engineered environments where the predator's speed advantage became irrelevant because speed requires open space, and these sites eliminated it entirely. Analysis of bone accumulation patterns at Boxgrove in England confirmed it. Early humans were not chasing predators or fleeing, they were repositioning them, driving them into positions where their size worked against them, then attacking from angles where a large cat physically couldn't respond. Not fighting the animal, fighting the terrain. And then there is the strategy that most completely changes how we understand the relationship between humans and giant predators. Ancient humans were kleptoparasites. That is the scientific term for an organism that systematically steals food from a more powerful predator. And the evidence now suggests It was one of the most consistent survival strategies in human prehistory. Here is how it worked. A pride of cave lions kills a giant elk. The kill is fresh. A group of humans, 8 to 12 individuals, approaches together. Loud, upright, carrying fire, throwing small stones to provoke startle responses. Cave lions, ambush predators by design, have no evolved behavioral script for a persistent group of bipedal animals that will not retreat. The lions, after repeated harassment, abandon the kill. The humans take the meat. A 2021 study in the Journal of Human Evolution analyzed cut mark patterns on large animal bones across dozens of sites. In a significant percentage of cases, human butchery marks appeared on top of carnivore tooth marks, not occasional scavenging. Consistent, practiced removal of the original predator from its own kill. They were not afraid of cave lions. They were farming them. But of all the strategies ancient humans used against giant predators, the one that changes everything is also the simplest. And it has nothing to do with weapons, or terrain, or group tactics. Humans simply out-remembered everything else. Every large predator alive 50,000 years ago operated on instinct refined by individual experience within a single lifetime. A cave bear learned what it learned in its own years and passed almost none of it forward. Each generation started nearly from zero. Humans were building libraries. Not physical libraries, behavioral libraries. Oral traditions, demonstrated techniques, accumulated failure data passed down across hundreds of generations. By the time a young Homo sapiens encountered a cave lion for the first time, they already carried the processed experience of thousands of previous encounters. The predator had one lifetime of information. The human had 10,000 years of it, and slowly the balance shifted. Humans spread into every environment on Earth. The megafauna, one species at a time, ran out of geography that humans hadn't already learned. Go back to that spike of fear you felt, that car cutting you off, that loud noise in the dark. That reflex is ancient. It was calibrated in a world where cave lions existed. Your nervous system still treats the unexpected as a potential predator, because for 99% of human history, that was a statistically reasonable assumption. The cave lions are gone. The short-faced bears are gone. The saber-tooths are gone. You are here. And the only reason that sentence is true is because somewhere, a group of your ancestors stood between their children and something that outweighed them by 1,000 pounds and figured out a way to make it leave, not because they were stronger, because they were smarter, louder, better coordinated, and relentlessly, impossibly unwilling to lose.